Austin FC, who after a wildly impressive 2022 season took a serious turn in form last year. They finished 12th in the league in Western Conference. They missed the playoffs. They lost in the Concacaf Champions Cup and the U.S. Open Cup round of 16. Do you remember they lost to Violette? The Haitian side, who were basically a semi-pro team piecemealing their club together. And team. Honestly, like it just never clicked from that point on last season. And to give you some context, in 2022, they were so good. They finished second in the West. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. Sebastian Drusi was having an MVP caliber season. So he had 13 goals last season. In 2022, he had 25. So there was a real drop-off in production from him. And it just seemed like collectively, Nigel, the entire team underperformed all at the same time. What did you make of their dip in form last year?
I just agree with you. Collectively, they didn't look like a team. They looked like they were struggling to score goals. They were struggling to be creative. There was no real flow, no consistency, even in the performance. There's one thing to lose games, where as a manager or coach or even the fans, you can see that the team's playing well. It's only a matter of time. But you never got that the entire season with Austin. There was just completely inconsistent throughout the season, and the players were not performing. And at times, you're going to have to look at the manager to say, what's going on? What's the decisions that you're making? You know, so it wasn't a great season for Austin, and they've got a fantastic fan base, like a great fan base, great stadium. You know, for me, the fans deserve better than they got.
It's like everything except the play on the pitch seemed to be going in the right direction. In particular, I feel like at some point we have to start talking about whether this coach is on the hot seat or not.
He's already on.
Is Josh Wolf feeling that pressure? Because last season we thought maybe there was an opportunity where he would start to feel that pressure, and they kind of turned it around. I remember they went through a gap where I think it was 6 losses in 7 matches, and we were like, are they done? But weeks before that terrible run, we were saying, are they back? Like, we never really figured out who Austin FC was last season, and I think that's what's really important for them this season. Get off to a good start. Solidify who you are as a team. Figure out what the identity is for this season, and then move forward. Because every time we talked about Austin FC, we had no idea which team was going to show up last season.
Yeah. Do you think Josh Wolf is the primary problem?
I don't know if he's the problem, but at some point you have to ask. I mean, look, Sebastian Drusi, we mentioned how streaky he can be. When he's on, he's absolutely incredible. But the majority of last season, he was not on.
He had 11 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah.
Nigel, Josh Wolf, feelings?
It's a difficult one, you know, because for me, it was so bad last season. I'm looking at now for this season. They had a new director of football come into place who came from Manchester City. And you've got to be smart about that. You've got to be calculated about the moves. You know, you can't uproot him and get rid of him straight away without having someone in place. And if you bring someone else in, is that person going to want to work with this squad of players?
Right.
So it's about chess and not checkers. So he's under pressure straight from the start of the season. And I think, was it Zardes that was the striker for them last year? He didn't score that many goals. But again, when you're watching the game, you've got Zardes, who's not bad in the air. There's times they get the ball in wide areas, but they're not crossing the ball into the box. They're not supplying him and feeding him. And you're trying to play through the middle of him. He's not the best with his back to goal and feet and hold-up play. So it doesn't make sense to me tactically what I'm seeing on the pitch.
To me, there were 2 massive problems, which when you put these together, it equates a very poor season. They conceded 55 goals, and then the production from their center forwards was just nearly not enough. Arudi only had 1 goal in 25 matches. Zardes only had 6 goals. And Sebastian Drusi, there was a while that one of their fullbacks, John Gallagher, was leading the team in goal scoring with 6. And then Drusi got hot towards the end of the season and ended up with 11 on the season. But it's just, when you put those 2 things together, it's kind of a mess. So let's look at some of the ins and outs for Austin FC and see how that they have addressed some of these issues. So these are the key additions. Diego Rubio coming over from the Colorado Rapids. How much does this move the needle for you at all, Alexis?
Look, you might remember him from his time at Sporting Club Lisbon and Sporting Club Lisbon B, and that's what I was going to bring up. He was with Colorado Rapids. A lot of us remember that time there. But he ended, suspiciously, at Colorado Rapids too. Same thing when he was at Sporting Kansas City. So
that's not the same energy you had in the back room there. I don't sense that same
I'm trying to be a camera professional, but I will say, look, at times I've thought if Diego Rubio can play towards the top of what his talent is, he's an incredible attacking midfielder. Is that who we will see in Austin? I'm not 100% sure. And also defensively, they definitely need some help. I mean, Maxi Urruti moves on. He only had, like you said, 1 in the league. I think two goals in total. I don't think that's going to be a massive loss. But defensively, they need some help.
Yeah. Conceding 55 goals is just not nearly
As a fan, though, would you not be more happy when you see an identity? Isn't that what most fans
absolutely.
want? Like,
Well,
you can see a style of play. I think because players as well, we want the same thing.
What was their identity in 2022 when things were going so well? Was that just a fluke?
Well, I think the director's come in and said it as well, though. He said, it was mainly Driussi, and he said that, it was great last season, but we overachieved. Because when you actually start watching it, and again, for me, it's watching football from a perspective of the team dynamic, not just one individual. And that's what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket. If you're just going to rely your whole team on one man does not win you the modern game of football. So you've got to have some kind of foundation and identity behind it.
They were 26th in the league in clean sheets. That's bad. 6.
Championship start from being able to hold clean sheets.
Yep.
It's not
That's
good.
how you win titles.
All right, let's quickly take a look at the projected 11 for Austin FC. This is how they could line up. Nigel, difference makers for you. Who needs to have big seasons? Rigoni is another one that completely underperformed.
Rigoni, but it's Driussi. He really has to step it up this year because last year was just unacceptable for being a DP as well. One of their he's the one that really has to step it up. He has to embody that because if you want to put in anything, though, you look at Hani Mukhtar at Nashville.
Yeah.
He is their DP, he's their superstar, but he performs consistently throughout the majority of the season with other pieces around him. So really and truly, he's under the biggest pressure this year alongside the manager.
I mean, this is starting to cause a little concern. Ethan Finley's 33, Rigoni's 31. Giassi Zardes is 32, I believe. I mean, your front squad here, your forwards are starting to get up there in age. You're going to have to really start to make some decisions. You're going to have to try to find some players, maybe bring some up from the academy, something.
That's going to be very interesting as well because you know how athletic the MLS is as well.
Yeah.
That's the problem. MLS is non-stop. There's a lot of athleticism.
Plus the travel.
And the traveling. So it's going to be
How much of a contributor do you think Jader O'Brien is going to be now that they've slid him over? I mean, not super productive, but I imagine that's what the expectation would be.
No, I mean, for me, I don't really get too involved in it. I've always been like that when you look at the transfers and the players coming in and out. I'll wait for the season to start of what I'm going to see because, again, you're talking about players having to uproot, to go to different parts of the country, to get embedded in that with the family, to learn a new style of play, to learn a new club, what a manager wants. There's a lot that goes into it, and it takes time. It takes time as the season continues to progress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, guys, we are going to take a break.